Kaylin, your abundance coach, and that's because I think attracting should be effortless. Today I'm joined by my daughter's little chihuahua, Suki. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about a little detail that really makes a difference towards your effortless attraction, because abundance comes when we can attract effortlessly. For that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little experience I had last night. Last night, my cats were running around hissing at each other, so it woke me up, and as long as I was awake and I kind of couldn't go back to sleep, I started to do a process. For me, it's a great way to start to really get deeper into energy and also let myself relax. So that's what I did. I did one of my golden flow processes. I did a process on change, which is not a relevant detail, but what is relevant is that I was working on a manifestation again. And so I was manifesting wanting to change, going from where I am now to where I want to go, the change of having something, what it is that I'm manifesting. I hope that makes sense, because that's one thing that people don't always recognize. They don't always recognize that in order to get what you want in life, your manifestation, whatever you want, a raise, a lover, whatever it is that you're after, means that you have to change. And there are some people who kind of freeze like a deer in the headlights before the idea of change. And so, always change your mind. Change your mind and decide that change is a good thing, because change means you go from here, hopefully, to where you want to go. And I know that it doesn't always mean that, and you might not like change, because you might say to me, well, Kaylin, the problem is I don't want to go from here to like having less, or from here to a worse place. But that's all about that effortless attracting. That's just all about your energy and your vibration. And if you are working on yourself, then you can easily make sure that you're going from here to closer and closer to where you want to go, not further away from it. So, sorry, that was a little tangent, but I think an important one, because people really do get uncomfortable with change. Not everyone, but a lot of people do. So I want you to decide to embrace change. Because when you embrace change, you're getting closer to embracing that effortless attracting, which is one of my favorite topics. Anyway, so last night I was doing the process, and I was trying to go from where I am now to the change of where I want to go, what I want to manifest. And I was really surprised that I have been helping people for 15 years. I am the co-founder of the Golden Flow System of Accelerated Well-Being and Abundance. I have taken people on retreats all over the world. I love doing that. I've done some amazing energetic processes. I've created some amazing processes, on and on. And even after all of that, in my process last night, I kind of hit a wall, so to speak, when I found that there was a part of me really holding on to not wanting change. And it's kind of like, oh my God, who is this? You're kidding. Because after everything I've done, after all the things that I have manifested and attracted in my life, it just seems incredible to me that there is still a part of me that's going, no, don't change. And it was kind of like I was just saying, it was really a part of me that was afraid that if something changes, things won't be okay. They'll go from where I am now to worse, kind of thing. And it was sort of a rude awakening, but it was also really good to see, because I was able to, with my flowing process, flow some of that energy. So of course, if you don't know, or you may know, what happens is we have experiences generally from our childhood that shape us. They set our energy, they set our behavior, they set our mindset, and then we go on this one track, and it's really hard to shift. And the thing is, when you're on one track, you're always coming from the same kind of thoughts, you're coming from the same kind of behaviors, and you have the same pattern behaviors. Then what happens is it's really hard to change onto the track that you want to change onto to manifest. And the worst part is, it really is a thing that you're not aware of. It's an unconscious thing. And what I mean by that is, a pattern behavior, for example, means that you always do the same thing. And I know that it seems like every day is different, and that every day you're doing things and you're doing different things, so how could you do them the same? But the truth is, when we are faced with a challenge or a problem, we tend to always try to solve the problem in the same way. We always, before a certain kind of experience, tend to react in the same way, and that sets the pattern. So then there we are thinking that we're doing our best, but because we're doing it the same way, like that part of me that I found last night that is still trying to hold on to things that being okay because I don't want them to get worse, I'm really still energetically coming at things the same old way. And that old way is clashing with the part of me that is trying to move forward in my life, the part of me that's trying to move into that next manifestation. So I hope that's clear, but I'm going to reiterate it again because it's a really important point. And the truth is that if you haven't manifested what you want right now, you have some version of this going on as well. And when we become aware of this, and when we can flow our energy, well, then we move into that effortless attraction. So let's explain that one more time. So there you have the way that you think that you're trying to do things. And you know what you want to do is you want to stop and really look at, do I always come from the same ideas? And you're really coming also from the same energy, but am I trying to solve my problems in the same way? When I'm faced with the circumstance, how do I look at it? So let's say, for example, that you want a relationship. If you are desiring a relationship or anything else, do you always look at it the same way? Ladies, for example, one of the things that so often happens is that if you want a relationship and you're not in a relationship, you'll tell me that you want a relationship and that, you know, maybe you're in a singles group or you're doing this, you're doing that, you're making yourself up, you're available, you feel like you're doing the things to attract a relationship, but you're going, but it's not coming. What's going on? When I have helped so many women with this kind of scenario, very often, not always, but very often, what's going on is they have a part of them that is afraid. They don't want to get hurt again, and so there's a part of them that's shutting down. Just like I had last night. You know, there's a part of you that's behaving in that patterned way that sort of doesn't want to get hurt and therefore has some issues trusting and therefore really puts up some wall. So then you have a tug of rope kind of game going on because there's the part of you that wants a relationship and that is doing things to try to attract a relationship, like let's say going to a singles group, and then there's a part of you that's pushing it away because what happens is, let's say a gentleman approaches you and he seems nice and he seems friendly, but there's a part of you that goes, you know, oh no, I'm gonna, you know, I could get hurt. It's like a part of you sees almost like warning signs, warning, we're starting to open our hearts. Hurry, shut down, because the last time we opened our heart, it got hurt. So you have this like contradiction, and it's difficult and it's frustrating because you have one part that's trying to attract something and the other part that's really repelling it. And you can see how the truth is, when you've got this kind of thing going on, you kind of stay neutral. In other words, nothing really changes. And so, ironically, any change would really be good, because if you're tired of the same old thing, then you have to break this energy that you've got going on, these behaviors that are both pushing away and pulling to you, because it's just keeping you in a tail chasing game. In other words, nothing's changing. So I hope that really helps you start to get a sense of the fact that you don't want this push-pull. If the fact that if you don't have something now, you know, perhaps you've heard this before, but the truth is there's a part of you that isn't allowing it. There's a part of you that feels safer, that feels like, you know, usually it's something like safe, but you feel safe, you feel like your happiness is pretty good the way it is, that if you let things change, they'll get worse, they'll get less desirable, they'll get less secure, more threatening somehow. Now, the challenge with this is that you can't logic your way out of it. You know, you can't sort of tell yourself, look, you're wrong, I really do want this, let me have it, you stop fighting me. You know, that doesn't work. And you can't also tell yourself, gosh, that's silly, I'm not really going to be threatened, I'm not really going to be unsafe. I need to really just allow this. Oh, good, I'm done. I'm going to allow it now. I mean, to some extent, you can do that. And one of the times that people do that is when they get so sick and tired of their own behavior that they kind of go, enough, I am so done with this. And then it's almost like it's so deep. You're so sick and tired at such a deep level that a lot of you starts to change. You start to reach that subconscious. But it's not effortless. And you have to really get pushed all the way to the edge kind of thing. And even then, it doesn't always work. So, how do we deal with this? I hope you're saying, Kaylin, how do we walk into effortless attraction then? I mean, this is really tough. You're telling me that I have this really subconscious part that is playing tug of war with me. I can't see it. I can't talk to it logically. How in the world do I deal with it? Well, here's the deal. There's no technique. There's no positive affirmation. There's no anything that is going to really change that. I kid you not, you can go back in time and change it and work with that part of yourself, or a more effortless way of doing it is to get in the flow, which is what I did last night. When you get in the flow, what you do is you really do the only thing that you can do with energy. What can you do with energy? Okay, if you have heard a little bit about energy, then you might know or understand that energy is never lost, broken, that kind of thing. In other words, energy just keeps flowing. It doesn't run out like our electricity or a light bulb. It can't be broken. Energy always continues. So that means that you can't like redefine your energy. You can't, there's nothing like that you could do, but you can flow your energy. You can raise your energy. And that's really number one, what you're meant to do and what you can do, and number two, almost like the only thing you really can do with energy to change it. Now, this can be rather effortless. I know that changing your energy might sound, or flowing your energy, or raising your energy might sound difficult because you might be like, I'm not even aware of my energy. But when we do flowing, we don't have to be aware of our energy. All we have to do is be with our own process. So, in the Golden Flow system, all we do is 3 easy steps in order to raise our energy. And you do these over and over because every time you take a breath, you should be really getting in the flow. That's not to say that you need to walk around all of the time flowing, but it is to say that when you feel like you need to, or if you want to really shift an energy, if there's something that you want, like that relationship, but you've got that tug of war going on, well, you keep flowing your energy until you recognize that it's in a better place, and then your energy's raised, so you attract effortlessly. So what are our 3 steps? In the Golden Flow system, step number 1 is we welcome. So, for example, last night I just welcomed the fact that there was a part of me that was fighting this. We're sort of taught to ignore or butt up against, try to change that energy. That's one of the only times that we think change, is a good thing. We try to forcefully change it. But you can't change energy that way. You can't force it. So instead, we welcome it. Welcoming it is so much more effortless, whereas trying to change it, trying to force it, you need that force, and it's very efforted. It's very draining. It doesn't work. Step number 2, we allow or experience or embrace that experience. So, for example, for me, I had to just feel the part of me that felt kind of threatened, kind of sad, kind of scared. It kind of felt like, no, keep everything the way it is so that it's okay. I don't want anything changed. It's kind of like, don't rock the boat. So I had to feel that, because thinking that is one thing. I did a session with a woman once who was trying to tell me how she was doing, and she was so tired of her relationship scenario. And I told her that she needed to flow it. She needed to not think it, but experience it. When we really experience it, we really shift the energy because we let it flow. So when you let yourself really feel the way you're feeling, it might be that you have a thought, it might be that you have a real sensation in your body. Maybe your shoulder gets all tight, maybe you feel these knots, maybe you feel a headache, but let yourself feel them. Let yourself experience it, and believe it or not, That can be one of the quickest ways through a headache, through that tension, through the feeling and the energy underneath the thought. So number 2, we let ourselves really have that experience, whether it's a mental experience, an emotional experience, a physical experience, or an energetic experience. And again, you don't have to worry if you can't sense energy. If you're just aware of what you're thinking, feeling, experiencing, you'll be there. You'll also, as a side, learn to sense energy, but you don't have to worry about it for now. Then step 3 is we just totally let it flow. In other words, once we have experienced it, and we don't have to hold it forever, I'll show you in a minute how quick it can be. But once we've experienced it, we let it flow. We take our focus somewhere else. A lot of the times what I do in processes is I bring the focus just back onto you. You take a breath and you bring your focus just onto the you here and now. I call it a centering breath because you bring your focus back to the center of all that you are, which is you here in the now moment in a new fresh breath. So let's practice that for you for a second. Notice right now, we're going to make it real simple. Notice whatever you are thinking or feeling or experiencing. Welcome that. Step 1, just welcome what you're thinking, feeling, or experiencing. Step 2, let yourself experience it. Whether it's something you call good or bad, let yourself be with that experience right now, embracing it, or you can call it allowing it, or you can call it experiencing it. And then step 3, let it flow. You just bring your focus now back to what I'm saying. Totally taking your focus off of what it had been on and bringing all of your focus to what we're talking about now. As you practice the golden flow, one of the things that's so effortless about it is that you can be at work and someone could come and say something to you that sort of puts you in a tailspin, and you can flow it right now like that. You just sort of welcome, feel it, let it go, and you can go on. It's true, you might need more than one flowing within something, especially if something puts you into a tailspin. But the point is, you don't need to go and spend a half hour when you get home. I mean, by the time you get home, you tend to be in a different energy. It's often become sort of a sour topic for you, but one that you don't really want to go back and revisit. You're glad you're feeling a little better, and you don't want to go and try to drum it up and try to figure it out and forget all that. In the moment, just welcome it and experience it, let it go. Even if you only did that once when you were in the middle of your busy workday and someone comes up to you and says something, it puts you in a better energetic place than if someone says something and you kind of get angry or tight, or, which is how we generally react. So the Golden Flow system really lets you move from reacting to responding, in the sense that instead of reacting in that patterned way and just adding to your tightness, just adding to that push-pull, that kind of thing, it lets you flow your energy and respond, because you're just not stuck in that old pattern necessarily. The more you flow, the more you raise your energy, the more you leave those patterned behaviors behind, the more you leave that subconscious part behind that feels like it's not going to be safe and secure, because all it is old experiences that you never really let yourself experience. When you let yourself experience old experiences that are still haunting you, so to speak, or present experiences that are here now that you need to experience, you get yourself in the flow. In the flow, you can't help but have your energy raise up. And when your energy is raised up, you can't help, of course, but naturally have law of attraction bring you so much more. Bring you more of what you prefer, bring you more of the things that you desire, and you don't have to make a list. You don't have to try. You can, absolutely. I love doing that. I love doing processes where I'm focusing on what it is that I want to attract or what it is that I want to manifest. But the truth is, when you raise your energy, law of attraction does it effortlessly. And it often brings you a bigger and better version than what you had in mind. So be sure to practice getting in the flow. Be sure to welcome experience, and then flow your experience so that you too can let yourself attract more and more effortlessly. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you haven't subscribed, please be sure to subscribe so that you are notified the next time there is a video. And I'd love a like. Thanks again for joining me. I'm Kaylin, your abundance coach, helping you attract effortlessly.